Hey guys, my name is Ryan, and we're back again with another Spirit Island video. Today we're taking a look at the aspects for shifting memory of ages, and we got two. Shifting memory was one of my very least favorite spirits that existed in the whole game. I just felt it so boring, so dry, so uninteresting, but both of these aspects I think do a great job of improving the spirit. So we're going to be playing Intensify today. Let's take a look at Mentor first. So in a multiplayer game, this is basically the new base shifting memory of ages. After playing Mentor, you'll never want to play base memory again, at least in a multiplayer game. So what it does is it gets rid of the ability for you to not forget a card to gain a major. And instead, whenever you gain a card, you just draw two cards instead of, drafting four, picking one. So you just get two cards off the top. So every power gain is twice as good on you. But you lose a little bit of selection. But in general, I think it's perfectly fine. Getting literally twice as many cards gives you plenty of opportunities to hit the good ones. And the same thing is true for mages, right? You would gain two majors instead of one major, but you'd only forget one card. So relative to the old special rule, in terms of majors, both ways you wind up at net plus one card each way, so it's totally fine. And we replace our right innate, which was a very boring, just like gain elements innate, and there was no interesting gameplay involved with it. And we replace it with this 4-tier innate. So first, for one air, put a power card from your hand or discard into target spirit's hand. In a solo setting, this is just a reclaim one, but this can only target another spirit. You can take cards, put them into other players' hands. There are some spirits that care about gaining cards, such as Nourishing Vitality, or Nourishing Vital Strength of the Earth, and Shroud of Silent Mist. This is not gaining a card, so they don't get the triggers off of that. But otherwise, it's still basically gaining a card, right? You're putting a card into their hand, delaying their reclaim, letting them hit their elements that they need for next turn, all the good parts of gaining a card. That bottom tier says that the card that you gave them, you get to gain an element marker that matches one of the cards that was given. So now, not only are we giving out cards, but we need to be a little bit more careful for which cards we give, because now we're collecting our elements to hit those major thresholds and do all the cool things that shifting memory likes to do. So it is a lot more interesting than just gain an element. It's gain an element that matches a card that you're giving someone else. There's a lot more dynamism and a lot more interesting play involved. But anyways, these middle two tiers, the second layer says, target spirit may play that power card now by paying its cost. So you give them a card and let them play it immediately. That can lead to a lot of really cool swingy moments. And then last, target spirit may repeat that power card by paying its cost. So if you have enough elements, and certainly hitting 4 air, you must use some of your elements in order to get there, maxing out a 3 card place. You can get 4 card plays by spending elements, so once again, you have to spend elements in order to hit this repeat, but if you do, it can be huge. And take note, this can be anything. There's no restriction on minors or majors, so you could give someone like a cast down, the Briny Deep, let them play it immediately, so, let them play it fast, and let them repeat it. You could just destroy 2 boards fast, if you have a ridiculous setup. Mentor is just so much fun, so much more interesting relative to base shifting memory. For me, it's the only way to play it in a multiplayer setting. But today, we're doing solo, and so goodbye, Mentor. Instead, we are doing Intensify. So this is going to get rid of this special rule here. This is the special rule that lets you spend these elements that you collect to threshold things. And instead, we have a new way to use our elements. And that is we can modify our actions. So for whatever thing that we choose to do, the power must already do that thing. So if it's a strife adding power or a Badlands adding power, we can add more by paying Sun. If it's going to remove and replace a piece, right, spend a Moon, and we can do an extra, etc., for all of these powers. In addition to all that, we get 2 free elements. So we get our Moon, which means that we will always, every turn, be able to prepare an element marker, and an Any, which is great. I mean, we could use it for our defense, we could use it to hit thresholds on majors. That does a lot of work to help compensate for not being able to threshold majors with the old system. So I'm really excited to try out Intensify. We are going to play a random game, Nature's Incarnate included. I've unchecked the ones that we've already played twice in the series. Let's get into it. We get Sweden 6. All right. Start with the sacred site in the high numbered land that is a mountain or sands. Exploring sands, and wetlands gets the royal backing. Okay. Great. Scale that up a little bit. Lock it. Put my Any element out here so I don't forget. Okay. Well, we have a built-in defend 3 we can use there. So this is the land that we got to do something about. Let's gain a minor. We get kind of nothing. We can pull the blight out and then just let it go. But that doesn't seem very good. Spur would let us basically just get those elements and play an extra card. Elemental Boon let us hit our threshold. None of these cards are particularly exciting, so I'm just going to take the blight removal. But there's a good chance we never play it this game. And let's take another swing at gaining some cards. If we take in Air as our Any, we can try and get tons of elements this turn. So let's put... well, actually, we're really not doing anything to interact with the board, huh? Yeah, so whatever. It's fine. But we'll do that. And, yeah. In a multiplayer game, maybe we could do something there. Get our element. We'll take something different. Let's take a fire in case we manage to pull a damage card. Then exploring the jungles. Ooh, that's not good. That's always the land you hope to dodge early. Call to Isolation solves that problem. That's really nice. So yeah, that's got to be the pull. Call to Isolation. Okay. Time passes. So we still don't have a solution for this land here. But playing like this, we can Any into an Earth will give us a defend 3 here. I mean, we could also just share secrets, go here, here, and then... oh yeah, well, we won't be able to... We know we're going to want to do this Call to Isolation. So this is looking like what our play is going to be, but let's gain a minor. See if there's anything better. Tokens isn't really going to do it. Badlands. None of these are too crazy, so I'm just going to take this Flames. Unquenchable Flames. That at least can do some stuff to gain some forward progress. And we're going to take the opportunity to put our presence over here. So we can defend 3 and Call to Isolation. Now we could spend an Earth element to turn that into a defend 5. Plays around extra damage. I don't know like the ratios, but I think we're fine. I don't think that's something we need to worry about. So let's Call to Isolation going here, and then we'll gather our Dahan here. So now only wetlands will give us a escalation effect. We do get to gain a thing. Since we have a Badlands card, I'm going to take a Sun. Event. Ooh. If we can remove the Blight on 5, that would be nice. So we'd have to forget an animal card to do that. That card kind of sucks, so we can just get rid of it. Add a beast, remove a disease. We'll put our beast out here. And slow power. No! Okay. Thousands of All Struggles doesn't do anything. That's all good and fine, so we're going to Ravage. Defended. Blight, there is nowhere for Sweden 5 to go, so all we have to do is Cascade. Build the sands, and explore the jungles. Great. Time to figure out what to do here. Time passes. What to do? Well, at the very least, we can drop a Defend 5 on it with our Innate, so it won't double Blight. It'll be hitting for 5. But let's see, maybe we can pick up some kind of a major that'll do something exciting. Has to be cheap. Walls of Rock and Thorn is going to be 1 energy too expensive, but I think I'm still going to take it because it at least solves our problem next turn. So this turn we take a Blight. Next turn we can solve it with Walls of Rock and Thorn. We don't need to forget anything because memory. And do I put a Sacred Site here just to lose a presence? I don't think that's necessary. So let's, I don't know, we'll spread ourselves around. And as for this turn, what do we want to do? Maybe we get our free element for the turn. I don't know, just play a couple cards that just do a few things. That'll put us up to 4 energy. We could play both of these cards this next turn. So that's something. We have our Defend 2. If we make it a Defend 4, it hits for 6. But if I do this, then we hit Defend 3, makes it Defend 5. We can do an any element into a fire to give ourselves the Badlands and the extra Badlands. So I think that's going to be the play. So now this land will be able to get 3 elemental markers from it. Or I guess it's going to be Defender for 5. So spend the Earth element, put a Defend 5 there. And we'll go any, as a reminder for our 3 elements. That's our 3 elemental markers, that's our defend, and then here we can prep an elemental marker, and we don't care about the extra permanent elements, so I'm just going to pick up an earth, since we just spent it, and it's definitely the effect we're going to be using a lot this game. Event. Add a town to a coastal land adjacent to a coastal town. Destroy 2 explorers among beasts. We can go here, that triggers, and we get an element. What kind of effects do we want? Damage is fire. Wilds. Wilds is plant. So we'll take a plant there. Yeah, with 3 plants, that solves it for the rest of the game. Actually dead ass. That solves it for the rest of the game if we put 3 plants there. And we kill everything because we've already done with stage 1, stage 2. And in stage 3, there's only 3 cards there. So we can actually remove this land from the game by dropping 3 wilds there. That's awesome. Added a Han to a land with the Han, no blight, no disease. So that leaves here. If it wasn't for the blight restriction, we'd be able to prevent ourselves from it getting escalated. Okay, so here, Defender for 5 comes down with 4, so we do damage there first. Then we take a blight, destroy a town. So the way that it works is the blight goes on, and then you flip the blight card, and then you lose your presence. So for this blight card, we're going to destroy this presence, and we're going to remove this town, so that way we don't get escalated. And change which pieces are in target land. So that gives another element for us. What are we missing? We don't have an animal or a water. Do we have any beast disease cards yet? No, so let's just take a water. Okay, and then we will build, which gets us our last element, which I'm going to take another earth. Okay. Exploring mountains. This Walls of Rock and Thorn is going to get a lot of value. Okay. So on my turn, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 health. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if we were to do this without Threshold, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage, which is fine. It'll be defended, and we can amp up the damage or whatever. So I'm going to use Unquenchable Flames, Fear, +1 damage with the fire, so I'm going to do 2 damage there. And then we're going to add a Badlands, which I'm going to use my Sun to add an extra Badlands. Okay, cool. Time passes. Let's gain another major. Ooh, Thickets Erupt. I really like this card. Once again, adding 3 wilds is just going to solve the land, right? So we can pick this up and use it here. We can like triple wilds here, triple wilds here, and then these 2 lands are going to be eliminated for the rest of the game. Because, yeah, 2 damage plus the 2 Badlands makes it 4 damage, so we don't even need to intensify anything. We don't need to threshold it or nothing. It just solves the land completely. Go here, gain. Just go here, I guess, with this Absorb Corruption. We gain an element now for the turn. I can play these 2 cards. And we're going to be using a plant here to intensify that. We do have the bonus everything, but adding the Badlands doesn't matter. We're not going to intensify the Badlands because, once again, this land's not going to exist for the rest of the game. Even though we're not going to kill everything, it's going to leave just like a city and a Badlands, and we can deal with that later. So we don't need to worry about extra defend this turn. We'll just use this for a fire. State fire. For any element for the turn, everything is thresholded. I guess we'll just take an air, just to give ourselves 1 extra defense. Be completely over defended. Gain 1 element, and I'm going to choose for a Sun. And then we'll get 4 damage. Yeah, we'll just leave the city there, that's fine. So we'll do 4 damage, defend 8, wilds, Badlands, isolate. Wilds, Badlands, isolate. We're going to spend this plant for 2 more wilds. So now it cannot explore for the rest of the game. Hashtag map makers. And we get to defend it for 10. Okay. And then we're going to do another defend 3 on that land because why not? Invader phase event. Terror level 1, don't generate fear for destroying things, that's fine. Invaders plus Dahan. Minimum 1 of each, so we have no qualifiers. And then we gain an energy. Ooh, that means we can actually remove a blight. That's nice. Dude over town from a land with a sacred site. Okay. Ravage. Build. Exploring the sands. Okay. And here we go. Slow phase. We're going to come in, gather, pay an energy, remove a blight. And we could spend a water to pull an extra blight out of the land, which just gives us a little bit more choices here. That's exciting. Time passes. So now, what do we want to do? We could reclaim. We could just defend this and not use our Thickets Erupt. If we reclaim, we can do Walls of Rock and Thorn here. Then we could use our Innate to defend this. Then we could save Thickets for this land here. Yeah, let's try that. Reclaim. Gaining 4 energy. We make a Sacred Site. Only wetlands can escalate now. So now I can break this up. Because if we get coastal, there's no escalation on coastal. So my first thought is to do something along the lines of this. We could take that for our any element. So then that would deal 4 damage. And then we could pull 2 Dahan in, defended for 10, and let that go. Then just defend that naturally, and we'll deal with that later. Since we this land is guaranteed to come up, it's going to be wetlands or coast, but if we can solve, if it comes up as coast, we can isolate and kill everything in land number 2. That puts us pretty far ahead. So I do like that line of play. And we get our free element for the turn, for our track, and then our innate is going to give us an element as well. So what do we want? Let's pick up a plant. And we can use that for extra wilds to lock out that land the rest of the game. Water to gather extra is not worth it, but I am going to hold on to a water in case, we want to move more stuff in the future. Let's defend 3. I might intensify that, so I'll think about that for a second. Here, we'll move 2 Dahan in. Here, we'll do 4 damage. Defend 10. Isolate Wilds Badlands. Isolate Wilds Badlands. Spend the plant for the +2 wilds. And yeah, hitting for 6, defender for 10, that one's fine. Over here, I think I'll spend the earth and kick that up to 5 just to be safe. Vader phase event. We can sack 2 presents or get rid of a blight. We get a presence every turn, so I think I'm fine with sacking 2 presents here. Let's just break up some sacred sites. We can, always make a new one. 2 dudes or a town from a land with beast. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's no good. We could just kick it in this way. Leverage the Badlands in the future. Because with this, we could do 4, 5 damage, kill all of that, remove the blight. It's fine. We'll deal with it. 1 damage per Dahan. And then counterattacks. Yep, so because of the Badlands, we just kill the city right away. And there's nothing else to counterattack. Explore from a land with the Han. Let's go. Okay, Ravage, build, exploring the coast. That is the best possible series of events for us because 2 of these lands are already solved. Great. Time passes. Now in this land, I'm thinking maybe I do like a Thickets and threshold it to kill everything, and then add 3 wilds. So then 3 lands will just be locked up. Man, these just piles of wilds is amazing. So if I do that, that requires a sacred site. That's fine. So Cult of Isolation won't be in range here. Won't be able to be in range to gather Dahan into this land. So I just need to kind of hope that that works out fine for me. But if it does, right, that's so much of the board is going to be closed out. Maybe, well, actually, we need to threshold this. And we only get 1 free element. So we need to play one of these 2 cards. So maybe we just do that. Or we could do an Absorb Corruption, go for +2 energy here, and then start pulling some stuff, getting rid of some blight. That's safer. But I think I like the idea of doing this and then gaining a major with the intention of targeting land number 1. Bombard with Boulders and Stinging Seeds. So it's got damage, Badlands, and Wilds. I mean, these Wilds cards are just winning the game for me. But I think Unleash is going to be the play. Just range 0, light it up. So here we get our Reclaim 1. We're going to... we need to find a Sun Fire card to pair with that. So that's what we're targeting with Boon of Ancient Memories. Let's go for the Fire for the extra damage that could provide. Oh, we need to add this here. Okay, so we're going to do Fear 4 damage and add 3 wilds. We don't need to intensify it for that to happen. That's just what the card says. So there's nothing to intensify there. We don't have any defense in it because we spent our any element, but we do have this. So I'm thinking we'll put our 3 things right there. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, Invader Phase. Event. Build in a land with a city. Okay. Maybe this isn't locked out for the rest of the game like we were hoping for. Defend 1 per Dahan. So we could push this, gather this, and then let both of those die. That's a little way to gain a little chip value. There's not much to it. If this means defend 2, hitting for 4, so yeah, we'll do that. Let that die. Build. Exploring. Mountain Wetlands. Oh yeah, sorry. We need to get a element and then another element. So we get 2 elements there. We'll pick... just grab a plant. Those plants have been real good to me. And... I don't know, just grab an earth. We have more elements than we have sense. So bam, bam, wilds, and here. Great. And then we get to gain a minor. And we need a Sun Fire card, like that Drought. Which I think is fine. Drought's not the best card, but you know, we can target here and do stuff with it, I guess. We're going to hold on to it, but I think we're going to gain another minor and hope for a card with better text next turn. Okay, so let's gain a minor, hoping for a Sunfire. No choices. So this turn, it looks like we're doing this. I wonder, with all of these excess elements that we have, do we start pushing for 3 card plays? So that way we can have more flexibility here. Difference of 2 energy. Yeah, let's try it for the extra card plays. So here we can go for... None of these cards are too exciting. Guess we'll go there. I don't know. Yeah, I think we go bottom track. Start trying to get ahead. Okay, every invader, we have range 0, so we can start doing stuff with our Unleash. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Be 5, 6. But if we went top track, it's +1 damage. Oh, we can actually fully clear this land. Or no, we can forget a card to gain more energy, so it's 8 energy. Yeah, so we're good. Because we don't forget cards. If we would forget a power card, we instead discard it. I forgot about that interaction. Yeah, Unleash is OP. Cool. We need element from here, element from here. If I take an air, I could even, instead of gaining an element there, I could go for 3 elements from this land. Why not? This one, I don't know. It doesn't even matter. Let's go for animal. So that we don't feel left out. So we'll go here and we'll discard. So we gain 8 energy. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then spend 7 of it. So we net gain 1. Kill all that. It's pretty good. Oh, wait, no. Because we need the fire for the element, so we don't get the air. That's fine. So that goes away. We just get 1 element right now. And we'll go for, I don't know. At this point, it really doesn't matter. I think the game's won. We just need to, like, you know, get there. For Invaders build, okay. After actions, beasts do damage. Ooh, with the Badlands, we get a city. Terror level 2 just now. Sheesh. Mountain Sands with Dahan, get to Dahan. Everything's now doubled up. Different land with Dahan, 1 damage per Dahan. Bada boom. Let's get the next Explorer. I think this is like the best card. The best fear card in the game. It just gives you a whole free turn. Without disrupting your plans of like slow phase destruction. I think that this card's awesome. So Ravage in the coast, build in the wetlands, mountains. And then we don't explore. And then after we advance, build in a terrain not shown under any action. So build in the sands or the jungles, and we'll choose sands. There's nothing to build. Slow phase, we get a drought, which I mean, we could just drought this right here and then destroy everything. So yeah, let's do that actually. Destroy buildings, add a blight, destroy a presence, cascade. Time passes, and then yeah, we'll just do the whole, doesn't even matter, just gain some energy or something. Reclaim this, play boom, boom, boom by spending 2 elements for the extra card play, or any element becomes a fire. And there we go. We gain 4 energy, spend 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we got to spend 5 energy. Gain 4, spend 5. And we have a completely clear island. Cool. What an interesting aspect. maybe I could have been more aggressive with what I was doing, but I felt like I was so flush with elements since I wasn't dumping like 5 of them at a time, trying to threshold some majors. I felt like I had a lot more activity in the early game because I could, like this defend 3 sucks. Turning into a defend 5 is significant. I only really use it, I think, to play around edge cases, but if you have like an explorer town city, like it's very common in the early game, a defend 5 can defend that, whereas previously shifting memory would just be screwed. So this makes your early game a lot better, which is shifting memory's weakest point of the game. Once you get enough energy, you start throwing down majors, but honestly, this feels like it unlocks a minor power build where you just run across bottom track. It's very compelling to me. I think I'm going to play this guy a little bit more to figure out the best way to go, but I actually think miners hit 3 energy for that extra element every turn and then run across bottom track, 3 or 4 card plays. Just tons of actions that you can kick up because, yeah, just increasing by 1 damage or increasing by a little bit makes such a big difference. And I didn't even think about doing a slow to fast with miners. That changes the game too. Ooh. This is a very exciting aspect, and I think there's a bigger nut to crack here. Hey guys, so I just went through the entire minor power deck just to see which elements can be used to amplify different cards. So I think I got everything. There might be some gaps in here, but you'll see there's clearly more cards here than the 100 that are in the deck. That's because I made some clones. So for example, like this Voracious Growth, it can do damage or it can remove a blight. So I put it under fire because you can use fire to amplify its damage, but I also went over here and I put it under moon because you can remove an additional blight with it. Even though you can't use them simultaneously, they're both there. Comparing that to something like Disorienting Landscape, which you can use the water to push a second explorer, and simultaneously you can use a plant to add additional wilds. But it's kind of interesting to see it laid out like that. It looks like, we use water more than anything else, which is kind of funny because I don't know if I used any water in that game. And one of the least used is plant, when I use plant quite a bit in order to close out that game. But anyways, I'm just going to scroll through these nice and slow. Down here are the ones that I don't think you can use anything in order to amplify. Something like Steam Vents. It says destroy as opposed to remove, so I don't believe you can use a moon. And there's no amplification for destruction. You'll see that there is no air, because any slow power could be used fast. That's what air says. So that wasn't a very compelling list to make, but I'm going to scroll through these nice and slow so you can see what your options are. And then I'm just going to end the video there. So thanks guys for watching, and I'll catch you around. None. Sun. This gives us the extra strife or extra badlands. Moon lets us replace an additional thing. Basically everything here is getting rid of blight, with the Kaladahan Ways being an exception. Fire is additional damage. Water lets you move an additional piece, whether that's pushing or gathering. Earth plus defense. Plant lets you add additional wilds or additional destroyed presence. And then animal gives you additional disease or beasts. Have a great day.